Well, speaking of Europe and the shadow it's casting over corporate earnings, let's go now to Brian Blackstone, Journal's man in Frankfurt, to talk a little bit about, Brian, we're out this morning with business confidence numbers across Europe, but very importantly in Germany. What are those numbers saying about, we all know that the mood is pretty bad in Europe, and that's we're starting to see it flow through to things like Ford's earnings, and it's even impacting Apple. Is the mood getting better or worse at this point?
Well, what you had out of Germany today was a decrease in the IFO index, which is kind of their main business sentiment index. It's consistent with other data that show that the German economy is starting to buckle under the pressure, not only of the debt crisis in Europe, but of the slower global economy. And this is a big problem for Europe. They need Germany's growth.
But it's also a big problem for the U.S., right?
Pardon me?
I would think it's also a big problem for the U.S. if you start seeing signs of, as you say, Germany's economy buckling. That really means U.S. companies that are selling into Europe are going to just have to expect that things are going to get far worse there.
Exactly. Not only are there large trade links and financial links between the U.S. and Germany, but Germany is really the bellwether for the Eurozone. And so one of the only silver linings of the last couple of years with the Greek and the Portuguese and the Spanish debt crises is that Germany was a strong economic and financial anchor. If Germany starts to buckle, then people are going to wonder not only where does the growth come from, but where does the money come from to support all of these bailout programs. So it's got a lot of a direct impact and indirect psychological effect on the U.S.
Right. So it could be a huge weight on U.S. corporate earnings. Just very quickly, Brian, sum up for us, given where confidence is going and given we saw earlier this week the threat of a downgrade to Germany, what is the mood in Germany like? Are people growing less enamored with the idea of bailing out the rest of Europe, or is it actually prompting them to think we better just write the check and get this done with?
Well, they're definitely growing less enamored with these bailouts, partly out of frustration that in Germany's view, the countries that are getting the money, Spain, Greece, and the others, aren't coming through on their commitments to cut their budget deficits, to revamp their economies. And so this is feeding into that pessimism in Germany. But on the other hand, Germany benefits greatly from the existence of the euro. It's a cheaper currency than it would normally have. It has very low borrowing costs. So Germany is still very much in this delicate balance between a frustrated lender to the rest of the region and yet really one of the countries that would take the biggest hit if things were to blow up.
All right. And what Germany ultimately decides is going to really decide what happens to the euro and what happens to companies and in some ways the economy back here. Brian Blackstone in Frankfurt, thank you very much.